Hello everyone, Dan here. Welcome to our very first podcast on our Here We Golf channel. This is the pilot. I'm going to talk a little bit about the PGA Tour this week, a little bit about the DP Tour schedule that's coming up for the 2025 season, and then I'm going to go into a bit of detail on how you can join us in playing the Fantasy DP Tour game for the 2025 season. With details of how to enter our mini league and also mention of what prizes will be given away as well. So please give us a view, like and subscribe on the channel, and let us know what you think in the comments below. Take it easy, enjoy. Let's look at the PGA Tour. This week they have just had the Bermuda Championship. The Butterfield Bermuda Championship, and that was won by Rafael Campos, taking home a cool $1.2 million for his exploits out in Bermuda. He finds himself now looking at exemptions into the Century and the Masters. I don't know if you may have seen a little video online of him being told, having that news broken to him, which was clearly something he wasn't expecting, and quite emotional for him to take on board. So that was lovely to watch. And there's also a clip of him out there as well. So I can't confess to watching much of the PGA Tour of late. There is a moment where he's 3 in the lead and he misses what looks like a 12 inch putt at the most, and he almost misses the hole completely, lipped out, but manages to hold himself together, gets through with a total of 19 under. Winning the tournament by 3 shots. So congratulations to him. We'll be seeing him teeing it up at Augusta for the Masters in 2025. The PGA Tour also broke some news last night of some changes coming to the tour, many of which will be coming in 2026. A lot of negativity following those announcements from what I've seen on social media. Immediate reaction to decreasing the size of the fields to try and help, I guess, to speed up pace of play. People are worrying that that's going to just allow the PGA Tour to have the bigger names fighting at the top, bigger notoriety and bigger profile at the top of the leaderboards on each week. And I guess that's their aim for their product, really. Big names at the forefront of the leaderboards, to try and get people tuning in each week. But there's an argument out there to say that these big names wouldn't have become what they were had they not been allowed the existing routes into the PGA Tour. Situations such as Monday qualifiers, which a lot of people who avid followers of the PGA Tour like to watch religiously, and it's a big part of getting people onto those events over there. I can't profess to know too much about it, but the belief is that these guys running the PGA Tour are trying to just harness the product that they already have. And from the outside looking in, I kind of get the feeling that they just are desperate to try and keep the myths on what they believe to be the best tour around. And it's a debate for another day. I'm not going to go into too much detail on this podcast, but there's 3 big tours out there: the DP Tour, the Live Tour, and PGA Tour. It just makes sense for the golf fans to have all sorted out, coming all together, and I believe one big global tour would be the way forwards. But that's what I would like to see. I'd like to see the best golfers teeing it up every week and not having them split across the 3 tours. We recently went to the Alfred Dunhill Links Championship in Scotland. A bunch of the guys from Live back over there competing with the top guys on the DP World Tour. It was just an absolutely unbelievable tournament, and one I'd certainly recommend if anyone can get to. I'd recommend you go and watch that and visit Scotland. Taking 3 of the best courses you'll see. I want to say a massive congratulations to Rory. He has had a roller coaster of a season. A roller coaster. He's played really well, consistently well all season, and just struggled to get it over the line. So to see him playing so well in Abu Dhabi, and then again this week in Dubai, he's finished the season off really strongly. Hopefully he can now have a bit of a break and get ready to go again in 2025. And I'd like to see him get a few more wins under his belt, and maybe finally that coveted Masters green jacket that he so desperately wants. In 2024, the strategic alliance between the DP World Tour and PGA Tour introduced a scenario where the top 10 not currently eligible for a PGA Tour card on the DP World Tour will earn themselves a spot on the following season's PGA Tour. So I'm just going to quickly run through those who were successfully earning their cards for the PGA Tour for next season. So in first place was Rasmus Højgaard, with Tristan Lawrence, who came so close towards the end of the season. Didn't quite work out for him in Dubai, but he'd had a strong enough season with a string of second place finishes without actually getting over the line. And in third place, we had Paul Waring, a local lad over from the Wirral, who has come into a bit of form over the last couple of years and seems to have all come together nicely in the last fortnight. Put in such a strong performance in Abu Dhabi. It was really impressive to watch, and especially when the field closed in on him, there was absolutely stacked leaderboard behind him, and they closed right in. And he had to par the par 5 on the 18th on the final day, roll water down the left. To show the cojones he did, to pull that 3-wood out and smash the 3-wood, just went through the back of the green, but it gave him enough to get up and down. He got the birdie. He only needed a 5. But it was really impressive to watch. And then he's put in another strong performance in the DP World Tour Championship in Dubai last week as well, earning them a spot on the PGA Tour next season. So massive credit to him. Jesper Svensson, solid season. Nicholas Norgard, a young lad who's broken through. Bit of a breakout season in the last 12 months or so. I think he'd be one to watch in the coming years. Can see him on a Ryder Cup team. Whether he makes it next season or not remains to be seen, but I certainly can see him into the thoughts of the Ryder Cup captains in the coming years. Matteo Manassero in 6th place there. He's had a tough time over recent years. Won the BMW PGA Championship some time ago and has kind of just dropped off the face of the earth really from a golfing perspective. But in 2024 he's bounced back, put in a string of solid performances and got himself a PGA Tour card for next season, so congratulations to him. Torborg Olesen, another just a consistent, solid performer who has got himself back on the PGA Tour. Anton Rosner, who for a period in Dubai this week looked like he might go on to take that crown. Alas, he wasn't able to see off McIlroy. He's got himself on the PGA Tour. And then Rukaya Hoshino, and finally Northern Irish lad Tom McKibben. And Tom's another player I'm looking forward to seeing in the coming years, and hopefully see if he can get himself in the Ryder Cup team, because he's certainly got the potential. He has had a number of top 10s this season, and he's only going to go from strength to strength. Just a little shout out to Sebastian Soderberg, who had been in those qualifying places pretty much all season. He got off to a great start. He was really consistent in the first part of the season, and then has dropped off over the last sort of few months really, and unfortunately in the last week has dropped outside the 10 qualifying places there. So commiserations to him, and Jordan Smith as well, who was in the mix on the final day at Dubai this week, and unfortunately wasn't able to get it over the line and has missed out. So he'll be back on the DP Tour next season. So he's one to keep an eye on because he is a solid player. The 2025 DP World Tour schedule was fully announced this last few days. I'm just going to have a quick run through of this, and that'll link us on to the fantasy game as well that we want to focus on if we can. So it's broken down into swings, and the very first tournament of the season, the opening swing, begins this week at the Royal Queensland Golf Club in Brisbane, at the BMW Australian PGA Championship. It's a big event. It's a big event with plenty of big names over there, and particularly the Australian home contingent. We'll be hoping to put on a decent showing. We've got the winner from last year, Min Woo Lee, a favourite of mine and Jay's. He's a crowd favourite, really. He gets everyone going. He's got an all-round game. He's still only young. He's broken out in the last couple of years, and I think he's one to keep an eye on. Could well go and retain his crown because he's still playing well towards the end of the season that's just been closed off. You've got Jason Day teeing it up, and Lucas Herbert, who also won New South Wales this week. Cam Davis, Cam Smith off the Live Tour is going to be turning up there. So a few big Australian names. Victor Perez, another big name, sort of in the top 100 in the world rankings. Jordan Smith, who we've just mentioned there, will be hoping to sort of pick up where he left off and see if he can get off to a good start and maybe on his quest to getting his PGA Tour card for next season instead. Nicholas Colsaert, so it's a relatively strong field, but once you get outside the top 10, I think you kind of struggling really to see where any winners have come from. So I think we'll be looking at the favourites there really. And then that tournament followed by the Handor Australian Open at Kingston Heath the following week. And then we're into December. There's a couple of tournaments in South Africa, with the Nedbank returning to the tour and the Alfred Dunhill Championship as well. And then the opening swing is closed off just before Christmas, where the tour will visit Mauritius. It then moves on to the international swing in January, a couple of weeks off there for Christmas. And then we are in the Middle East initially. So we've got the Team Cup, which I'm excited about. It's going to be, I'll probably touch on this a bit nearer the time, but it's basically a Britain and Ireland against Europe in a preparation for the Ryder Cup. A bit like your President's Cup between USA and the rest of the world. Team match play event, something different, and it's going to be exciting to see how that plays out. Following that, we've got the Hero Dubai Desert Classic. That's a Rolex Series event, an elevated one on the DP World Tour, so with bigger prize funds and more Race to Dubai points on offer, and a significant increase in Ryder Cup points available as well. So you'll see a strong field take to the course there at the Emirates Golf Club for that one. Then they are in the UAE at Ras Al Khaimah, the Ras Al Khaimah Championship the following week, followed by Bahrain. There is another unannounced Middle East event taking part in early February, and then back to Africa for the Kenya Open, the South African Open Championship, and the Joburg Open will close off the international swing at the end of March. We move into the Asian swing, and March is kind of where everyone feels like the season starts in earnest, really. But as I say, you have the Dubai event earlier on in the DP World Tour season there, with plenty of Ryder Cup points on offer and plenty of money in the pot there for anyone who can get over the line and win that one. But yeah, the Asian swing starts toward the end of March. We've got the Porsche Singapore Classic. The Hero Indian Open follows that, with the venue yet to be confirmed. And then there is a weekend off for the DP World Tour before we head into the Masters, which starts on the 10th of April this year. And the final two events on the Asian swing were back in China, venue to be confirmed, and also in the last weekend of April, is an Asian event, again yet to be confirmed of where that is or how many Ryder Cup points are on offer. In springtime, we've got the European swing. So in May, we're heading to Turkey for the Turkish Open. US PGA Championship follows that one at Quail Hollow. And then we're hopping around Europe then following that. So towards the end of May, we're at the Soudal Open in Belgium, the Austrian Alpine Open in Salzburg, the KLM Open, Amsterdam, back in the US for the third major of the year, the US Open at Oakmont Country Club this season. And then we're back for the final two events of the European swing at the Italian Open and then the BMW International in Munich. The part of the season where things start heating up a bit. We're into the closing swing, so you'll have had a lot of players who have picked up points who've ticked over, who aren't playing in the elevated events and aren't playing on the PGA Tour. So you'll see some names there who will have picked up plenty of Ryder Cup points at the sort of lesser events, if you like. But then this is where it starts adding up, because the big names come to the fore in these tournaments. With lots of Ryder Cup points on offer, lots of Race to Dubai points on offer. So closing swing starts second weekend in July. We've got the Scottish Open at the Renaissance Club in North Berwick. $9 million US prize fund with 8,000 Race to Dubai points and 2,000 Ryder Cup points. And I'll just compare that with, let's say, for example, the Soudal Open in Belgium, where there's only 3,500 Race to Dubai points and 1,000 Ryder Cup points on offer. So massive difference there. If you can put on a decent week at the Scottish Open, you're going to usurp maybe the equivalent of 2 or 3 events from earlier in the season. That same week, you had the ISCO Championship at Eastbourne in Louisville, which is considered a Race to Dubai event, but with only 3,500 Race to Dubai points on the line and 1,000 Ryder Cup points. But then back in the UK, the following week, we got the 153rd Open Championship, another event that we all look forward to. That's at Royal Portrush this season in County Antrim. So I'm sure Rory will be eyeing that one up, going back home to Northern Ireland, where there were 10,000 Race to Dubai points on offer. That same weekend again in the United States, there's another tournament that's the DP World Tour. It qualifies for the DP World Tour, and that's the Barracuda Championship. And then there's 2 more events in this swing, the closing swing, which is the Czech Masters, the first weekend in August, and the venue to be determined on that one. And then the Danish Championship in Copenhagen in the middle of August there. The next swing is the back nine. The back nine we head to the British Masters. Is back at the Belfry again this season. Nick Faldo's hosting it. We've got 5,000 Race to Dubai points on offer there. European Masters in Switzerland the week after. And then we've got a couple of big events coming up. So we've got the Irish Open at the K Club. Week after, we've got the BMW PGA Championship at Wentworth, flagship event. Absolutely amazing event. Been there a few years. It really does cater for the fans. It's a great one to get to if you can. Usually attracts a decent field too. With $9 million prize fund there and 8,000 Race to Dubai points on offer as well. The French Open was once a Rolex Series event up until a few years ago. Follows that, and then you've got a break Race to Dubai for the Ryder Cup, which is back in the USA this year at Bethpage Black. I'm sure we'll be covering that in a bit more detail the closer we get to it. Following that is the Alfred Dunhill Links Championship. As I say, that was an incredible event that we attended this year with an unbelievable field. Now, with it falling the week after the Ryder Cup, I wonder if that could be to its detriment. So it remains to be seen what sort of field we get for that. But in any event, whoever turns up, if you can get there, it's certainly worth having a little visit to. You've got the tournament played over the 3 courses at Old Course, Carnoustie and Kingsbarns as well. 3 fantastic courses in a beautiful part of the golfing world there. After this, we're getting into the back 9 of the back 9 now. We've got 3 more regular events. We've got the Spanish Open in Madrid. There's a back 9 event in the middle of October yet to be announced, and then the Genesis Championship in Korea, also yet to be confirmed where that takes place. That brings the regular season to a close, and at this point you'll have the top 50 who have accumulated the most Race to Dubai points will then go into the DP World Tour playoffs. The DP World Tour playoffs consist of 2 events, as we covered earlier on. You've got the Abu Dhabi Championship back at Yas Links. Absolutely stunning course, that Yas Links. Really good test of golf. For them to take it apart the way they did, the greens are so fast, and these golfers are shooting 19, 20, 21 under. It's just amazing. It really is impressive to watch. And that's with a $9 million prize fund, 9,000 Race to Dubai points. And that's where the final sort of jockeying for places takes place. So you've got the top 70 go into that one. There's essentially a cut then of the top 50 in the Race to Dubai, who will go on to the following week at the DP World Tour Championship at the Jumeirah Golf Estates in Dubai. For a prize fund of $10 million US, 12,000 Race to Dubai points. So even if you're not Rory Mcilroy, there's still plenty to play for basically. But Rory had it pretty much sewn up early on this season. He's ticked over nicely without getting too many wins over the line. Accumulated plenty of points, which meant only Tristan Lawrence could catch him this season. And Tristan didn't, he'll probably admit himself, he didn't really turn up in Dubai. And it was to no avail anyway, because Rory Mcilroy absolutely crushed the field. Played just amazing golf. And to his credit, took home both titles, the DP World Tour Championship and the race to Dubai. So that's the schedule in a nutshell. Rambled on a little bit. And we've got a segment now on the Fantasy DP World Tour game, which was announced yesterday. Given the quick turnaround between the end of the season and the start of the 2025 season, there's always a little bit of apprehension as to whether this game's going to go ahead, because generally the DP don't put any communication out about the forthcoming game until the season's finished. So in the quick turnaround, the game did go live yesterday on Monday, and we've got as I covered there, the BMW Australian PGA Championship is the open event of the season. I'm just going to quickly cover the sort of quick rules of the game, if you like. So what you've got to do is set up your account on fantasy.dpworldtour.com. Register your team, which will consist of 6 players from the players in the field. Now you can pick 6 golfers. There's no budget, so there's not a cost for each player. You just pick any 6 players that you want, that you think are going to perform well that week. Golfers who aren't in the field, say for example McIlroy, who's not playing this week, he's not eligible for selection for obvious reasons. And then once you've picked your 6 players, you'll pick one as a captain, and they will get double points for you. So each week you pick your 6 players, and then you get a fresh team the following week. So you don't, when you pick them 6 players, that's not your team for the season. You don't get transfers as such. You just pick a fresh 6 players every week. And that game usually goes live around midday in the UK on the Monday, once the previous tournament has closed off. So there's also a selection cap, which you will see when you pick your players that there's a number of little dots next to them. Some have 5 and some have 3, and they're your limitations in the game. So if you decide to go and pick Min Woo Lee for the first 5 tournaments of the season, that's it, he's done. So you want that's where the strategy comes in for this game. So you want to make sure that you're covered off. So when you get to the DP World Tour Championship next November, you probably still want to have the likes of Rory in your back pocket, or Tommy Fleetwood, or Tyrrell, whoever's there. So you don't want to just go flying out the blocks, pick all the best players, and then realise that you're scraping around to try and find a team later in the season. So there's a bit of strategy involved there. So the DP World Tour members can be selected a member of 5 maximum of times in the season, and non-DP World Tour members can be selected a maximum of 3 times a season. So for example, if you're picking your team as we speak, you'll see that Jason Day is playing in the Australian PGA this week, but he's only got three dots to his name because he's not a DP World Tour member. So you can only pick him 3 times throughout the season. Just for example, once you've picked the maximum selections for that player, and they'll be grayed out in the list for you, so you'll not be able to pick them for any future events. A good thing about the game, which kind of can keep you engaged, I suppose, if you go on holiday, or if you forget about it, if you don't pick your team for the start of the tournament, the game automatically generates 6 random players to play for you, and it randomly picks your captain as well. So even if you forget to pick your team, you'll still have a team for that following week. It just, chances are, isn't going to be the one you want. And if you get a golfer withdrawn from the tournament, they'll automatically replace them for you as well if you don't change it yourself. The deadline for each week for picking your team is the first tee time of each tournament on the first day. So you'll see when you go to pick your team, there's a countdown, and that shows you when you have to pick your team by, basically. There is a point scoring system, which I won't go into too much depth and bore you on, but if you go onto the help section of the fantasy.dpworldtour.com, it tells you how many points you score. So depending on whether a player gets an albatross or an eagle, birdie, par, bogey, or worse, you score points, or you actually lose points if they get a bogey or double or triple. So you hole by hole scoring. You get bonus points for if they shoot a round under 70, you get a bonus of 5 points. If they shoot the low round of the day, you get a bonus of 10 points. And then there's also finishing position bonuses. So if your player wins the tournament, you'll get a bonus of 50 points if it's a Rolex Series event, and a bonus of 40 points if it's a non-Rolex Series event. And that staggers all the way down through to the top 30. So I think if your player is finishing in the top 30, I think you get a single bonus point. So it's always, we're trying to pick your team based on who you think is going to play well. But there's also a filter option, so you can select who makes the most average birdies around. So it might be worth considering, okay, so this player is not necessarily in form, but they get plenty of birdies per round, so it might be able to boost your score that way. So there's different ways of factoring in who you want to who you want to have in the team each week. Now there's decent prizes on offer for this game. I'm just having a look there for the 2025 DP World Tour season. The game has put on a first place prize of return flights and accommodation for 5 nights for 2 people. The flight shall be to and from airports to be agreed, flying to Dubai on the 12th of November. Transfers to and from such airports are not included. Accommodation should be in a 3 or 4 star hotel that the tour shall determine. We check in on Wednesday the 12th of November 2025 and check out on Monday the 17th of November 2025. The winner will also receive a private lesson at Jumeirah Golf Estates and also a tea time for 2 people on the Earth course the day after the conclusion of the DP World Tour Championship. Second place wins a £500 DP World Tour voucher, 2 admission tickets for the 2026 event, and then it drops down similarly with lesser vouchers. They're also doing an opening swing prize, so that's the highest total score at the conclusion of the 2025 opening swing. First place will win 2 season tickets, which is a week-long ticket for each event, not to be confused with a ticket that'll get you into every event for the year, like you would in football. So a season ticket will get you a week-long ticket for that event, to 1 DP World Tour event in 2025, and then there's also a second and third place prize as well. They also do a best week prize. This is to keep you involved, really. So the highest score in a single week across the whole season will also win 2-week tickets to a tournament of their choice. Now, in addition to all these prizes, we're creating a mini league ourselves, and I will post the link to this in the description, or if you have a look on our socials, I've put a bit out over the last 24 hours. If you want to get involved and sign up to our mini league, if the game interests you, I will also be putting a prize on for each swing. Now, at the moment, I've decided that it's going to be a box of Pro V1s. 12 Pro V1s is going to go to the winner of the opening swing. So that, like with the DP World Tour prizing system, whoever gets the highest cumulative amount of points across all the events across the opening swing, I'll put the details out on our socials if you want to contact me, and I'll get your details and we'll get a box of Pro V1s shipped out to you. Depending on the success of the opening swing, we'll see if that translates into the remainder of the schedule and the international swing in January. But across the next month, we'll get you a box of Pro V1s if you get the highest cumulative scores over the next 5 weeks. And they will hopefully be with you in time for Christmas. And I think that is all from me today. Just a quick congratulations as well again to Rafael Campos winning the Butterfield Bermuda Championship this week. Nelly Corda winning her 7th title of the season. Just absolutely destroying the women's game at the moment. So massive congratulations to her. And congratulations to Rory Mcilroy as well, picking up the DP World Tour Championship and his 6th Race to Dubai title, equaling the total of the legendary Seve Ballesteros. Hope you've enjoyed listening to this inaugural podcast. I'd like to know what your thoughts are, what we should include, what we should cut out, and let us know in the comments section. If you're listening to this on one of the podcast platforms, you can leave us a review as well. Let us know what you think. Say any comments, just to try and help sort of tailor where we want to go with this. Any improvements we can make, anything you think might be worthwhile as us dropping or including. And we will catch you next time on Here We Golf.